What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm LotusAsakura, the never knows best, and your boy is back from Vegas, back from Evo, and more importantly, we got some news to talk about. I know you guys missed me. I know I didn't upload for the second half of the week that I was gone. That was not the plan. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at sticking to the plan. Was that Big Sean? I think that was Big Sean's song. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point is, Dragon Ball FighterZ is alive and well, and might have a second life in this near future. So I mean, I don't need to beat her out of the bush. I already heard the news. I'm late to it. I didn't like do like an upload from my phone or like something from the hotel on my laptop and then while I was gone, but I'm back, and I don't even know really what to say. I was legit speechless when they announced it, but Dragon Ball FighterZ is officially confirmed to be getting rollback netcode. It is literally, and I mean literally, a genuine dream come true. This is something we've been asking for 4 whole years. Since the release of this game in 2018, there were already people off there who were like, it doesn't have rollback netcode. Granted, back when this game released, the FGC and the community at large was not as aware of the difference between delay-based netcode and rollback netcode, the benefits of it, and how much better rollback is. Which, by the way, if you want to know more information about rollback netcode, why this is such a big deal, and what the difference is and all that, there are tons of videos out there. I highly recommend watching any videos, from Jam covering the topic. I feel like he breaks things down very clearly and concisely, and he'll explain a lot better than I could in just a few short words here in this video. But yes, all you really need to know is that it's much better than what we have now. But yeah, back then in 2018, not as many people were aware of rollback or the benefits, and we weren't begging for it as badly as we are now. But I think it's a good thing that the community has evolved to a point where they're more informed and more aware. We're pretty much, saying, hey, if the game doesn't have rollback, we don't want it. We don't want to play it. We don't want to buy it. We don't want to support it. It doesn't mean that every single game that comes out that has rollback, that doesn't have rollback, is dead on arrival. But, it has been a pretty big, serious con. Some players are these days speaking with their wallets, and if games do release and they have delay-based netcode, the community makes their voices heard and lets it be known off the rip, like straight from the jump, we want a rollback update for this game. We have been asking for this pretty heavily, consistently since 2019, I'd want to say, and just heavier and heavier every year. We keep asking for rollback netcode, and at Evo 2022, they finally announced it. And I'm pretty sure I actually have a clip I can throw on screen here of when they actually revealed and announced it after top 8 of Evo, and I was legitimately speechless. I like froze for a second. I was like, did I really just hear those words? Because I just couldn't believe it.
With the latest on stage, which just released a few weeks ago, we believe that Dragon Ball FighterZ has been tuned to its finest. So we do not have future plans for any new characters or a balance adjustments. But here's the good news. If you have heard from her, we have decided to implement rollback netcode today.
Also, I know on the side of the venue where we're at, it might look kind of empty and barren. I assure you, there were still a ton of people there, all things considered. For those of you who didn't catch Evo, if you weren't there, you weren't up at night to watch it, you might not know. But the reason why it was a little bit emptier is because, well, DBFZ top 8 went until 2 in the morning. Which, since we were on the West Coast, that means if you're on the East Coast, it was 5 in the morning. Which I didn't even take into account when I was out there. I was like, damn, it's 2 a.m. I didn't even think about it until after the fact that, wait, that means it was 5 a.m. over on the East Coast, which is where I actually do live. So, yeah, but I mean, you could hear the crowd erupt. Everybody was mad excited, and like my jaw literally dropped. I had a mask on, so you couldn't tell at first, but like I had, like my head started spinning, my mind started rushing a million miles an hour, and like at first I was like frozen, like I was in like true shock, like disbelief. And then like my jaw dropped, and in the moment I had the presence of mind while I was recording to like lower my mask for a second. I know I usually keep the mask on, but I lowered my mask for a second in the venue just to show like me being like, oh my god. But Dragon Ball FighterZ is officially getting rollback netcode, and I mean, I think I just have some casual gameplay in the background right now for you guys. So you're probably seeing, and this was pure coincidence actually. I recorded this earlier. I figured that this was how I was going to do this video, and it's pure coincidence that it worked out this way, but it's honestly pretty perfect. You've probably noticed if you're looking at the gameplay at all, there's some lag spikes here and there. Things ain't really smooth. It's a little bit choppy, you know what I'm saying? And well, those are issues that come with delay-based netcode that'd be a lot less prevalent with rollback. You know, I play a game like DNF Duel, and you don't really see an issue like that in that game. You know what I mean? Guilty Gear Strive, we don't necessarily get issues similar to as we do online in DBFZ with Guilty Gear Strive. Those are both games that have great rollback netcode, some of the best out right now. Other games with great rollback, examples of it would be like Skullgirls or Killer Instinct, neither of which I've played or experienced for myself, but I've heard nothing but great things about. Killer Instinct just doesn't really interest me. Skullgirls is a game that I've never gotten around to trying, even though I think it looks really cool. Shout out to the Kill Stage and Sonic Fox for that grand finals. Sick. Shout out to Sonic for winning it. Sage getting second place. I know he wants even better, but I believe his time is coming. But shout out to the way he handled Pen, because that was OD, especially considering the tweet that he dropped. But again, so Dragon Ball FighterZ is getting rollback netcode. The thing about it is we don't know when exactly we will be getting this update. Another thing, well, they said some more stuff, but let's do one thing at a time. So we don't have confirmation on the exact release date of rollback. We don't know if it's going to be anytime soon, if it's going to be in the next month or two, if it's going to be in a few months, or if it's going to be next year. They made a tweet after the event that gives a little bit more insight, but not a whole lot to really go off of. All we know is that basically we can be expecting it, and hopefully as soon as possible. Now, one of the drawbacks that does come with is the fact that they said in order for them to implement it onto the game or into the game right now, it's going to be easier for them to do that on PlayStation 5 and Xbox One S, or I don't use Xbox, so forgive me if my name is on, but the latest series of Xboxes and the PS5 as well as PC. Apparently there's some limitations with doing it on the current generation of consoles, and I say current, but I technically feel like PS5 and Xbox One X or One S or whatever it is now is the actual current gen, and PS4 and Xbox Series, no, it's Series X. Yes. I don't play Xbox, you know what I mean. I feel like the PS4 is the old gen and PS5 is current gen now, but I guess it's because not everybody has access to them. It's still kind of like next gen because they aren't really accessible, or you know, in a plethora. They're not, you know what I'm saying? They're not very readily available for everybody, and that is the issue with it. Obviously, a very large portion of the player base is on console, and I do know a fair amount of people with PS5s. I myself am a PS5 owner. I don't know where my PS5 controller is at the moment, but my PS5 is right here on my shelf. Doesn't matter. But yeah, so I know a lot of people with PS5s and Xbox Series X, I think is the latest one. I'm not gonna dwell on that anymore in this video, I swear. And obviously a bunch of players are already playing on PC anyway, so this is great, I'd say, for the majority of players, because I think between all the people who do own the latest Xbox or PlayStation, and the fact that so many people play on PC, I think at least, I don't have the numbers to back this up, but I want to believe at least half or more of the player base will be able to access this. Then they will be doing stuff for PS4 and the older Xbox as well in order to get them up to speed and everything like that. But it seems like us who have access to the latest consoles or souped up PC are gonna have, you know, the first dibs on everything, and it just is what it is. And I'm excited for it, man. There's so many opportunities now and avenues for content and collaborations, and just so much that can be done with the game. And this announcement got people so excited that both Goichi and Sonic Fox, who had pretty much, you know, laid off the game and weren't taking it as serious anymore and weren't really maining it, both expressed that they want to pick the game back up very seriously again. Obviously, Goichi and Sonic, two of the best players, arguably the two best players to ever play the game, the greatest rivalry in the game as well. I mean, you know, them being back into it, that also helps out the scene a lot from a spectator standpoint, from a competitive standpoint, and it's just, and there's a lot going on, especially because with Goichi practicing the game right now, as good as Fenrich is, and Fenrich is ridiculously good, he's probably still a top 5 player in the world right now. Japan probably the weakest region right now. So with Goichi and Fenrich getting back at it, and you know, Goichi's always been playing the game here or there, but not just as seriously as it used to be, and obviously he hasn't really been competing or going offline for it. He didn't even make it out to Evo, but that might be for other reasons. That's not really necessarily related to DBFZ. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? It hasn't been his main priority, it hasn't been his main focus, but it looks like he wants to make it that again. Sonic said that they're going to main the game again. Probably also going to always main Skullgirls, like Skullgirls is always going to be number 1 in their heart, but I believe DBFZ will probably be number 2, especially because there's not a lot of games out right now that Sonic seems to be really into, unless anything comes out anytime soon that they really get invested in, which I doubt. What better game to play than DBFZ, especially once they can actually play online? It's so exciting. Now, the other thing I want to talk about in this video that they also mentioned and talked about is the fact that they pretty much confirmed. I say pretty much, but they straight up confirmed that this is really it for Dragon Ball FighterZ as we know it. They're gonna give us this rollback update and implement that netcode into the game. Then after that, they said word for word that they have no plans of any future DLC characters, balance adjustments, or anything like that, because they believe that the current version of DBFZ is tuned to its finest, which, well, I strongly disagree with. And I think a lot of you guys do as well, but some of you don't. You know, some of you do feel like this is the best version of the game. And for better or worse, you know, I mean, shit, once rollback is in it, that's a whole new story. It's just, and you know, there's, again, like I didn't write anything down. My mind is going a million miles an hour, but it's just, I didn't think we'd ever see the day. I honestly didn't. Like, there was always a small part of me that hoped and thought maybe there was a chance. I had pretty much convinced myself, just as somebody who always keeps my expectations low, tries to be as realistic as possible, was seeing so many other games release with it and it getting implemented in other games, and we just constantly got left in the dust. I was like, well, I don't know what it is, but somebody up at Bandai Namco or at AHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHH
just doesn't seem, it doesn't feel like it's worth it. They just don't care. I don't know what it is. I didn't think we were gonna get it. You saw Guilty Gear Strive release with rollback netcode. You saw Plus R retroactively get it. You saw Blaze Blue retroactively get it. I believe other games as well got announced for it, like Under Night and Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. The Grand Blue Fantasy Versus is still one of those games that's struggling and actually did not get the announcement as not having a rollback update as far as I'm aware. But then you saw other games continue to release with it. Project L is going to be releasing rollback netcode. DNF Duel has rollback netcode. Multiversus has rollback netcode. So this is becoming like a must-have in your game. If you're a fighting game developer, the community has made it clear that your game must have rollback netcode if you want our money, if you want our support, if you want us to play your game. Otherwise, we're going to let you know that the game is not playable, the game is not enjoyable, we don't fuck with it, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's for the best. I think this should be the new standard. And it seems that right now, it is the new standard. Not every single game that comes out, but pretty much every game that comes out within these last couple of years in the foreseeable future is getting rollback. And that's a beautiful thing. Now, as far as the game not getting any more balance adjustments, any more patches, any more DLC, this is bittersweet. And I say bittersweet because you might think to yourself, well, it's just bitter. If this is the end of DBFZ, then this, you know, what more is there? I'll tell you the sweet part about this. Dragon Ball FighterZ is an incredibly popular, well-selling game. I'm pretty sure, I should double check this, but I'm pretty certain without even Googling it, that it has to be by far Arc System Works' best-selling game of all time. I don't think they've ever had any game. Yes, I just looked it up. Their second best-selling game of all time is Guilty Gear Strive, which I believe currently has around 1 million units sold or shipped or however that works, right? Dragon Ball FighterZ has over 5 times that amount. So it is by far, and Guilty Gear Strive just released last year. So prior to Guilty Gear Strive, it was Xrd, which didn't even crack 1 million. It's around 500,000 in total sales, right? So it is by far exponentially like their best-selling, biggest title of all time. They had to generate so much revenue, and exposure, and just, you know what I'm saying, that they had to have benefited a lot from the release of this game. So I cannot fathom the idea that it all just ends here and that there isn't some sort of sequel or some sort of game that follows it up that is very similar to this system. So what I mean by that is they're implementing rollback and they're saying, all right, that's it for Dragon Ball FighterZ. So is this just going to be the testing grounds now for the next Dragon Ball FighterZ title or the next Dragon Ball fighting game that they release that's going to have rollback netcode from the jump, and it's a whole new game, a whole new world? Shout out to Aladdin, you feel me? That's a real possibility. I'm not trying to get anybody's hopes up too high. I don't know anything. I haven't been told anything. I haven't heard any leaks, rumors, anything like that. I'm just throwing it out there. It's a possibility, and I'd like to manifest and speak it into the ether so that it might come to fruition or to existence. Another thing to keep in mind is that there was an interview that came out. I don't have it pulled up. Like I said, I'm kind of winging this. Stuff is just coming to me as I'm sitting here thinking about it. I just want to talk to you guys about everything that I've had on my mind the last couple of days. I haven't been able to make videos, but there was an interview that came out. Pretty much AHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHbe more aggressive in collaborating with currently existing IPs. So what that means is, as things are right now, AHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHwant to work with you guys and be like, hey, we want to work with you guys and have you develop this game,
you know, with our franchise. So Bandai Namco must have been the ones, I'm pretty sure they were, the ones who came to ArcSys and said, hey, we want you guys to develop a Dragon Ball fighting game for us. And ArcSys was like, sure. Now ArcSys is saying, instead of sitting around waiting for them to come to us, we want to approach them. So they might approach Bandai Namco and say, hey, can we make another Dragon Ball fighting game? Can we make a Naruto fighting game, or a Bleach, or a One Piece, or a My Hero Academia, or whoever, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what all publishers have the licenses to which series and which, you know, gaming rights or whatever, but we've all been dreaming about it since the release and since the announcement of Dragon Ball FighterZ back in 2017. Another anime game, another anime title in this style. And even as somebody who's not a huge fan of One Piece, I'd be down for a One Piece, a Bleach, a Naruto, a My Hero, just because I love the Dragon Ball FighterZ game so much, and I love Arc System Works games so much, because I've enjoyed every Arc System Works game that I played, to be honest. I mean, I'm not a super die-hard, like heavily invested Guilty Gear player, but I play Guilty Gear. You know what I'm saying? Every game that's come out since DBFZ, I've bought it, I've played it, I've liked it. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, and even a couple of before that, because I was playing Extra before DBFZ released. I wasn't good. I didn't play it like every single day of my life, but I played it when DBFZ got announced. So I was like, oh, yo, what's this game about? And I was like, yo, this game is sick. So anyway, point is, there is now more than ever a really high chance of us getting another Dragon Ball FighterZ game, some sort of sequel, or another anime game, another anime fighting game developed by ArcSys of like an, you know, a big mainstream title or something like that, because I mean, anything is possible at this point. You know, the sky is the limit, right? We're getting Rollback, and they come out with the interviews saying we want to work of the titles. And I'm actually, let me scroll through my timeline real quick to see if I can find that tweet, because I'm pretty sure I quoted it. Here it is. So shout out to PS360HD2. CEO of ArcSys has stated that he wants to make more games based on popular IPs that are especially popular in the West. He used to be hesitant, but now want to be proactive. What IP would y'all like to see? Naruto FighterZ guaranteed 10 million copies and maybe Marvel ArcSys. So yeah, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Naruto, way more than Dragon Ball. I talk about it all the time. I would love a Naruto FighterZ. But here in the actual quote from the article, we can see in a conversation with IGN, CEO Kiruka, who met with the EVO 2022 site, which is currently in progress, said, in the past, Arc System Works was very passive about collaboration with other IPs, and usually the IP owner proposed to collaborate with Arc System Works. He said that he now plans to change the policy and move more actively with Arc System Works. In particular, Kiruka wanted to make a game that would resonate in the West, but it remains to be seen whether that is referring to a license that is popular worldwide like Dragon Ball, or whether he wants to collaborate with a franchise that is popular in the West. We are very interested in expanding the fighting game community through IP. We are actively pursuing collaboration with IP owners for this opportunity. Sky's the limit, man. The sky's the limit. And like, just from a business, and again, like, you look at a company like Nintendo, who literally has the opportunity to print money, and they just pass up that opportunity all the time. You want to think about things from a logical standpoint, but sometimes you can't, especially with really hard-headed developers sometimes. But you want to think from a logical and business standpoint, but that there's just no way they don't want to capitalize off of what DBFZ accomplished by trying to replicate it with another series or a sequel to this game. It just doesn't make sense. If a game like, and that's another thing too, if a game like Xenoverse is still getting support and content to this day, and DBFZ has sold just as well and is still ongoing, still getting support, it has an offline scene, is being at these big major fighting game tournaments, and they're saying that this is it for DBFZ now, when it's 2 years younger than Xenoverse, then the only explanation to me has got to be there's a sequel of some sort in the works, or they've got their next big thing in development on the way, and we'll find out about that in the next year or two. That's my game theory. So I don't know. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping. I'm excited for Rollback, NETCODE, or Dragon Ball FighterZ. I'd be lying if I said it didn't like reinvigorate my love for the game a little bit, get me a little bit excited, make me want to, you know what I'm saying? Because I was falling off a little bit just because, like, you know, the current version of the game, like I said, isn't my favorite. But Rollback definitely changes things a lot, just because it makes dealing with a lot of things in the game that I don't like easier, and also just opens up a lot more opportunities and avenues for different types of content and people that I can work with and play the game with. So it changes things pretty drastically. How good that netcode will actually be once it's implemented is yet to be determined, but hopefully it's amazing. If it's anything like Guilty Gear Strive or DNF Duel, which I would hope it is, because I mean those games are also developed by ArcSys, then it's got to be good, right? So fingers crossed. Here's hoping. I'm looking forward to it. How about you guys? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit this video with a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you can stay tuned for all this content that I bring you. With all that being said, it's pretty much off today. And remember, nothing can happen to you from the bat. Later.